Anthony is an architectural designer by trade with loads of experience in his field. He's built up his business empire of the Rocket Group, but now is in a shift his career now, running to 81 North, focusing more on sourcing, interior design and architectural design as well. We chat about his previous and current business efforts and plans, and he shares some current projects, the wins, the challenges and the struggles, and he dives into some of his worst investments. We discuss the pros and cons of hiring employees as opposed to subbies. Another amazing episode. Mate, thank you for coming down again.
You're welcome, again.
It's a long old trip from Darlow down here.
It is, it's a good 2 and a bit hours, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, lots of coffee, so I'm all good.
No, I appreciate it. You know, for those listening, this is the second time we've recorded this. First time the microphone was placed in the wrong place, so I've got to make sure that it's in the right place today.
He didn't turn his mic on, basically.
No, we turned it on, but it was all rattling on my neck
stubble.
vagina.
Your neck vagina.
You know that bit there looks like one, doesn't it? And it, so Paris tried to edit it, and it just weren't happening. So we took the command decision to not release it and invite you back down. So thanks for coming.
No worries.
So once again, introduce yourself, mate. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Oh, God, I'm just trying to remember what I would have said last time. So.
We don't need to. It can just be what it is this time.
Yeah. I think a lot has changed, obviously, since last time anyway, so I'm just trying to remember who I presented myself as. But, Anthony Boyce, I'm an architectural designer, I guess, or technologist by background. More recently, I would say I'm more of a developer, doing commercial conversions, listed buildings, new builds and things like that. Run a couple of networking events as well. And then a few businesses. So I did found the Rocket Group until recently. I've just removed myself from quite a few of them though. So my new focus is a business called 81 North, where I'm sort of looking to do a little bit of education and back to doing architecture, interior design, and a little bit of property sourcing as well.
Oh, cool. So you weren't doing any of that before? The last time you came, I mean.
What
last time you came, you were just wrapping up your construction side of the business.
Yeah. So that's it's still there, but it is it's not trading as such. Still not able to get hold of that business partner to formally close it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's that. Well, that's kind of bubbling on in the background, and as I say, I've kind of removed myself from the other rockets. So I'm leaving the rockets be, and I'm no longer the rocket man. I'm 81 North man. So.
Oh, nice. Tell us about 81 North, then. Let's give it a shove.
Yeah. So just going back to what I enjoyed really. So the rocket thing, it was an idea of this multidisciplinary practice. We built from just me to probably about 45 staff within its time, and just created a lot of headaches for myself. It's just the idea of that E-Myth kind of philosophy where you're not working in the business, on the business. It was great. So I did a lot of JVs with people, but I think when people realised I wasn't working in the business, I was working on it, they got the hump. The fact I wasn't 100% focused on things. I had other things going on. Kind of wound people up, I'd imagine. So I decided to strip it all back, and just do what I enjoy, which is interiors, the architecture, carving up deals, all that kind of stuff, and finding deals really, and chatting to people. Obviously networking's a big part of what I do as well. Yeah,
nice. What would you say to someone before they start a new business, given what you've just shared about partners and doing stuff that you love? Like, I see folks starting businesses around something that's going to make money before finding out whether they actually like the thing that makes money first. So what would you say to someone comes to you, let's say someone comes to you and says, Anthony, I know you've built this type of business before and I'm thinking about doing it. What would you say to that person?
I would say definitely learn delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I think this is one thing that's kind of wound me up with people who've jumped into bed with me a few times, is that people who've come from corporate backgrounds, they expect to be at that level and get the equity. Yeah. And it's just going to continue. So if you're on 100 grand or whatever, just do not expect that straight away from day one when you're going into your own business. It's late nights, 16-hour days. If it's just you're doing the admin, you're doing the marketing, all of that kind of stuff, and the work as well. It does take a long time to build. So I would probably look at things on a kind of a 3 to 5 year time horizon. Like, just don't expect things to happen overnight. So that would be the number one thing, and then also just create value. I guess don't think of the money. It's not just about making money, because again it takes time to build your client base, reputation and things like that. So yeah, just look at things on a longer time horizon than making money tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think 3 to 5's generous as well, to be fair.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, depending on your goals and what it is that you want to achieve from that thing. I mean, what are we now? We're 6 years in, and I still feel today, we've just said it just before we started, I still feel like I'm just starting. And it feels like that all the time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Whether that's because I see so much growth in front of me, or whether I'm not recognising progress.
Is it more?
I never actually stopped and thought about that.
Yeah. Do you still feel like you're winging it, maybe? Is that?
I don't feel like I'm winging it. I think we've got a really good structure. I get easily distracted, though, by, not shiny pennies, but by, because the shiny penny thing's all about more money or more income, in my opinion. For me, somebody will put an idea to me that might not even be money, and I'll go, yeah, fuck it, we'll do that. Like, why don't you write a book? Let's go and write a book. But, like, what am I actually doing this for? What is the purpose of this thing? Book just being an example, but starting a networking event, or I have so many ideas all the time. It must drive the team crazy. You must have been the same. You're very much like that, aren't you?
Very much. I think, there are people, you need to take action, and obviously that's something you've not struggled with, and I don't think it's something I've struggled with as well. But I think, as you've said, you can only dedicate so much time to so many things. So that's another thing that's kind of bit me in the bum a little, I'd say. I haven't really got things ticking over as they should before I've started the next thing. I've kind of just thought that, it seems to be working, we'll go and start the other thing. So every time I started a business, I'm just trying to remember how many there were. God, what do we have? So we had architecture, then construction, heritage, ecology, media, digital, arboriculture, but that didn't really go anywhere. God, HR, we tried to start as well. And each one, it gets piggybacked by the first. So when we started construction, there was a lot of money that was being supported by architecture. Then there was the heritage, and then that takes 6-9 months before it starts turning over any money really, or generating enough to cover its costs. So without getting your systems and processes in place at each one, all you're doing is basically piling debt onto these companies. And if they struggle because you've taken your focus elsewhere, then each of them is going to struggle, and nothing's going to be successful. I think that's one thing I've found. So like you've just said, that I guess there was an element of shiny penny with me as well. Or just ideas like, let's get them all started. One of them's going to be a success surely, but you've only got so many hours in the day, and it does get to you a bit, doesn't it? When you've got too many things going on at once.
Too many plates spinning. What's been the maddest idea you've had?
Bloody hell. Maddest idea. Well, I think one of the things I will do, I made like my own coffee. So I wanted to start my own coffee company, subscription coffee. So that's probably the maddest idea, but it is one that when I do have a bit of time finally, I'm trying to win back my time at the moment. That would be one that I'll maybe run with. So screw the property and all that. I'd really enjoy being remembered for like my own coffee brand. So the idea of that is, the little sticks you get in, like your travel lodges and your little Nescafe, rather than that, give people a cafetiere with a little 100 gram of my coffee, and then people sign up to the subscription service from there. So again, I'm sounding like a madman here. It's just another idea that I've had and ran with. But I have so many of them sort of crazy things. God, we were thinking about starting clothing. Just silly. Too many things.
What about clothing? What was you going to do with that?
This was when it was all Rocket, so it was just like Rocket apparel. I don't know, you just, so many conversations I had, and people were like really into like the logo and saying, you could stick that logo on everything. And I was like almost like, I'm going to do that then. So we'll do it on clothing. And because my family, they were all like, I really like your Rocket hoodies. Can I get one for Christmas? And then obviously that just starts the ball rolling. People commenting, that's a nice little logo. Where'd you get that from? Who's that? It's Rocket, it's my company. So it's just a silly idea that just ran from there, but it hasn't gone anywhere, thankfully. I don't think I've got time for that one.
I don't imagine there's much money in it either.
Probably that as well.
So you're 81 North. Are you going to still be doing property once that's all up and running?
Yeah.
Still developing?
I'll definitely be developing. That's what I like doing. That's what I want to focus on.
The actual work or the design work? Because it sounded like you were doing 81 North was going to be architectural and design.
So
very hands-off, desktop-y.
I'm very hands-off anyway.
Yeah.
I've hung up my crayons now, so I don't do much, if any, drawing. I did do a measured survey the other day, actually. So that was me dusting off the laser to go around a shithole. But no, I like the deals. I like finding them. I like carving them up. I like spotting opportunities that no one else has. So that's the bit I enjoy. There's that saying, isn't there? If you do something you love, it never feels like work.
Totally.
I could keep on doing that. Going to the meetings, making sure everything's going smoothly. I enjoy that part. I'll keep doing that. And I've got a good team in the office. I've really retracted back. So I've got Grant, who was my first employee, actually. So he's about a year off being a fully fledged architect. So he's going to kind of run that business, hopefully. Rebecca is one of our more recent employees, but she's fab. She's an interior designer, so she's going to take that aspect of it. So even if, for whatever reason, the work dries up on them, I've got my own projects. I'll still be finding sort of commercial conversions and that kind of stuff, and it'll just feed into those businesses. So I just want to focus on what I enjoy doing, really.
Yeah. And the sourcing element, is that so? If I were you, you might have had this thought, and this might be a new idea I give you.
Not another one.
So if you're going to be sourcing architectural and interior design, that sounds like a really nice high-end package service that you could sell inside of that sourced service.
It's exactly that. I guess it took a little while for the penny to drop. And I'm sure it does with a lot of people. When I get my eyes on a lot of deals just because of the network I've built and obviously the architecture background and getting on things like your podcast. So people do come to me with all kinds of stuff, and just sometimes I just look at them and it's not for me, that one, and just discarded them. It's like, well, actually, everybody's criteria is different for what they want to get into in property. So just sort of realising that, we can actually find a deal, pass it to someone, we can carve it up, the architecture, provide the furniture, do the project management. So basically an end-to-end property service, which was kind of the idea when I started out anyway. For people who really don't know about property, that's the idea behind it. So very much feeds into each other, really.
You ever been in a shit deal?
I've ever been in a shit deal. In what way? In developing one? Well, I wouldn't say they're shit deals, but I'm going through a couple that have gone over at the moment. I've got my church conversion, which is run on and on and on. About 2 weeks from completing that, so that'll be amazing. Big weight off my shoulders.
Will you be getting out clean?
All depends on the GDV, but I think so. I hope so. I mean, when you say clean, I mean, we might leave a little bit of money in.
But when you're holding it though, right?
Yeah, we're holding that. But when you boil it down, the ROI is still, north of 25% anyway on what's left in. So it's not that bad a deal, although it just feels like it has been because it's taken a lot longer and that kind of thing. And then we're doing a new build at the moment, which again is taken a lot longer. We were using modular. That hasn't worked out. Well, it has worked out. It's there, but it just
I didn't know you'd done that.
Yeah, so it was a barn conversion originally, but then we got permission to knock it down.
Ah, right. Right. You did mention that, so I didn't realise you were knocking it down.
Yeah, so we got the permission to take down the steelwork and everything. So it was just a clean site. So effectively, it became a new build.
Yeah.
But that's taken.
Is that Class MA when you do that?
No, it was Class Q.
Class Q.
Class Q. Yeah. But that's it's just taken a lot longer than it should have.
What, the builds took longer, or the process, the planning?
Just the whole process, thing. Really. I say we were using a modular system, which was meant to speed things up in the factory. But I think just a breakdown in communication when we went back into planning, because go back to the start. With Class Q, you've got to keep the structure. You've got to convert the structure. So we were going to use this modular building anyway. Again, going a step backwards, my construction company was meant to build this, and I lost a bit of faith in what they were doing and the quality and this kind of stuff. So I was looking at ways of removing the risk for myself. So I thought modular, it's all built in a factory, craned into position between the steels, and away we go. When we were discussing it with the team in the factory, they were like, "Oh, we'll just take some of the steels out and then we'll just put it in." I was like, "Okay, no, I'm getting filmed for television this one, so I'd rather we didn't take the things out because it's on film. Then it's going to be on television. The planners will go, oh, that's a Class Q building. You've just removed the structure. There's an enforcement notice, Mr. Boyce. Take your house down, please." So we went back for planning permission to knock it all down, got it through, but I think in the 2 or 3 month period where we were back in for planning, they thought that the job was kind of at risk, so just didn't do anything in the factory. So when we got out just after New Year, there was just basically 3 months of work that should have been done that wasn't, and then it was just a pain in the bum getting it back rolling again, really.
And there was no recourse to them for that delay?
There's arguments happening, let's say. So that's to say it's still ongoing at the minute. We still owe them a little bit of money, and this is the thing. I can get it from their side. Yet, we should have maybe discussed it a bit more. But they're not seeing the financial impact on the project.
Yeah.
Because, we're talking, we'll be in for £1 million on the build by the end of it. And you're at 1% a month. So, it's like 10 grand a month basically in income. It was meant to be a holiday let, so there's a loss of income from that as well. Yeah. So, there is an argument brewing there because their contract's a little woolly anyway, I would say.
Yeah. And whereabouts is it?
That's in Ponteland, up in Newcastle area.
All right, yeah.
So it's a nice area. Touch wood, it all works out. And again, we forget about all the pain, anguish, late nights, stress, all of that kind of stuff when we get to the end, because we're going to flip it now anyway. So
it goes back to your point earlier about delayed gratification, doesn't it? As long as you can be calm in the present and recognise that this result's coming in the future, it's so easy to get knotted up in the presence when you're in that pain and very much like this is going fucking bad, and taking your eye off what it's going to be in the future.
Yeah. You've got to think as an entrepreneur, or anyone in property, because we've had down vals and all sorts through these projects. You've got to have a lot of belief in what you're creating, just so that you can keep going. So like our church project, to go back to that one, I think when we started, we had a GDV of 650. So you can only borrow a certain percentage of that. So we had to try and make it work. The last valuation, which was still mid construction, because we needed more money to finish it, was just shy of £1 million. So there's 400 grand of hope value there that I saw, but you need that belief to carry on. So like you say, you need to be fixated on the end product rather than living in the here and now, because you probably wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and even worse in the past. Like this went bad last week, so I'm not going anything today.
Yeah,
and certainly not doing anything in the future.
Yeah.
When we came first time for this recording, you mentioned. I think we got speaking about bad investments, and you mentioned that you briefly touched cryptocurrency, which I'm keen to re-explore. Tell us about that. How did that go?
Well, and when was that? When I was working, I had a little bit of investment. It must have been 2016, 2017. I was just putting little bits in, having a dabble and stuff, and the market was rising. So I was doing all right. I probably had about 10, 15 grand in, say. Well, it might have been a bit more actually, but it was rising. It was mooning at the time,
Yeah.
And then we were doing a HMO refurb at the time, which had unfortunately hadn't gone well. It was going over budget and stuff. It's like a recurring theme, isn't it, for my projects here? Maybe edit this out, please. But no, it was a painful project. So. That I think was Boxing Day or something. The arse fell out of the crypto market. So I was probably about 50 grand up at that time. So from a 10 grand investment, like fab. But I needed to finish this project. So there was obviously money going out left, right, and centre. So I was selling my crypto while it was sinking, at a loss basically, just to get through that project, which we did in the end. But I found my little Trezor wallet, my little USB thing the other day, and I just saw the transactions, and just looking back at them, I was like, God, I'd be a millionaire now if I'd have just held the crypto. So screw the £400 a month that the HMO gives me. I could have just sat on my hands, not done any property, and I'll be interviewing you for a crypto podcast now, rather than you interviewing me on a property one.
So how much did you have in then? Not monetary wise. What was it? Bitcoin you had?
It was all sorts, TRX, just loads of stuff. It was trading altcoins really, but I had some Bitcoin as well. Obviously that's the standard one, but I think I had over 1 million. It might have been even 10 million TRX at the time, the Tron coins and stuff, and obviously they sank to fractions of a penny, and then back up to north of 10p or whatever. So had I had my time again, I would have just. And that's the thing. I think people, again, it's that time horizon. People, if you focus on today, it's up and down like this, isn't it? But when you zoom out, it goes like that. So sometimes you just got to sit on your hands and let things breathe, haven't you, and accumulate, and it's definitely a lesson there.
How does it feel looking back?
I mean, I'm still alive. I'm not trudging through that guy who's got his hard disk in the dump somewhere, hasn't he?
Yeah, what about the guy that bought a pizza with it when it first came out?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, imagine
£1 million pizza.
Yeah.
But no, to be honest, I'm not really investing in crypto at the moment. I've got a little bit in, not a huge amount or less than £1,000, but yeah, it's one thing that I'll get back into when I've finished all of my property projects.
Don't you think it should be the other way around?
What? Well, yeah, hindsight.
Yeah, using your crypto profits to invest.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I'd have been in my Lambo by now, wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Me crypto Lambo, but no, it's one of them, isn't it? You focus on what you know. Maybe I made the wrong choice. I don't know. Yeah, but one of them.
Yeah. What projects are you working on right now then?
So right now I have a listed building, a Methodist church that we're converting to 6 flats. All
and where's that?
That's in Barnard Castle, just southwest of Darlow. Nice little area. Dominic Cummins made it famous in the lockdown with visiting spec centres.
Yeah, I think I said first time we came. I've been through it once. To drive straight through the middle of a park, don't you? You go in one side and come out the other.
Yeah, there's a lot of land around. Yeah, lots of nice scenery. Nice place, really nice place.
Yeah. Mum and Dad had a caravan in Wombleton, and they used to go through Barnard Castle to get there.
Yeah, really nice part of the world. So that one's about 2-3 weeks from finishing. That'd be fab. And I've got this new build house in Ponteland, so just north of Newcastle Airport. That'll be 3-4 months, I'd imagine, once the next tranche of funding arrives, and then we're on site with a commercial conversion up in Wooler, up in Northumberland, which is 2 shops and 5 flats, and that'll be done probably August time. So they're all kind of converging. They were all meant to be like, I'll do that one, then onto that one, then onto that one.
You ran them all at the same time.
Like buses, the opportunity came up, and what a mess I've made for myself. Nearly there.
What will you do differently next time?
What will I do? Well, we've got it right with our last one. So
which one's the last one?
The last one is the Wooler one. So that was the last one we started. But I know you've spoken about this before. Is getting your shit sorted before you go onto site and your specs and all that. Thought I'd done all of that with the church, but things changed. So we didn't plan to use. We used the modular system, the modular roof system on that as well. Again, just to remove some of the risk. Wasn't liking the work or the speed that my guys were working at. So I thought this would be an easier way of doing it. So that changed some of the stuff. I guess we didn't update pricing and things, specifications. From that, thought I'd planned everything out, but as we kind of progressed, and you have an electrician doing that, one doing that, and one doing that, just nothing married up. So it's been a lot of going over works and stuff like that. You'll know the stories. Second one, again, obviously you take those learns, put them into that one, think you get it right. Again, things change. We were doing like an adapted holiday let with that one, like disability focused. Thought we got it all planned, and then we started looking at the bathrooms, and things needed to change, which wound the contractor up, and blah 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 blah. But the next one, the Wooler one, so we learned from that, and we got everything sorted. Started with the end in mind. I've been saying that a lot recently, but literally, interior designer, plan the kitchens. That's what they're going to look like, and work backwards from there. So everything's kind of in place, full and final price from the contractor, no variations and that kind of thing. And touch wood, it's what, probably $5,000 over on a 450 build. So
that's nothing.
So finally we've got it right.
It's not even 1%. No, well done. So you just touched there. It was winding the contractors up. What do you think? Like, you've just described a very different sort of process to each of those things, and I'd like to bet, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'll bet it was easier to source the contractors on the first one than it was on the third one.
No, because it was my guys. So when I went into business and started the construction firm, that was the project. So I'd been for a price with a guy I'd used a few times on smaller projects. And we kind of decided to join forces, because I could take him from a one-man band to a multi-million pound contractor, basically, contracting construction business. So I guess the carrot was dangled, and he was all game for that. So it was easy at that point, because obviously it was me doing it. I thought I could control costs. People are working for me. Surely they're more motivated and would do a good job, and that just wasn't really the case with that. So I've kind of gone full circle with rather trying to control everything, just use people at what they're good at, use contractors, a bigger firm who've maybe got a construction manager, someone who's arguing with the trades, making sure they turn up on site because they're penalised if they don't. Yeah. So the third one is introduction via Johnny Hayes, actually, who I know you know well. And they've been great, to be honest. They've helped me out with all of the projects now and given me the confidence to go back and start looking for big projects.
Is it DHG you use?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, they've done a job for a friend of mine in Buxton.
Yes.
Service accommodation unit out there. Yeah. I've not met him, but they speak highly of him as well. So you touched there with contractors. We've got subbies on one hand, staff on the other. I think we spoke about this on the last time we came to. Yeah. You think it's easier with subbies than it is staff? So with what I found, and it might have just been the mentality of the people I employed, maybe, I don't know, but they get paid no matter what at the end of the week, Staff do. Yep, agreed.
So what I was finding is there was no motivation to put in a shift. Again, I think it comes down to mentality.
Yeah, totally.
I remember catching someone saying that exact thing. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I don't need to work late tonight because I get paid
anyway.
Yeah, and it's disheartening when you hear that as the boss or one of the bosses. But there's
no accountability for standards either when it comes to staff.
Well, that's it. When we parted ways and I decided, look, enough's enough. Not just my projects, but other projects just weren't getting done quick enough. Obviously, you've priced that much. There's your money, there's your profit, and then when it runs over, you're over. You actually, I was putting money into the business, so I just couldn't be arsed doing it anymore. It just there's no point to it. Yeah. A bad investment, I guess. I was looking around some of the stuff that was being done on my own projects at the church, and we had some like pocket sliding doors, and the dickheads putting the architraves around them. They were just putting nails through, and obviously these were, you've got your wall and you've got the door between. The nails were going into the doors. Like, why does this door not work? And you're walking around and, like you say, there's no accountability for standards and stuff like that. And it makes you laugh because I'm having a bit of chew with the guy I was in partnership with and just getting things finalised. But because I'm a developer and because I own businesses, it all seems to be pushed onto me. It was my fault, and it was the standards on site, in my opinion, that just weren't up to what I needed to be able to sell it to other people. And that was just one example of the many things I was just like looking around and going, what am I paying for here?
Yeah.
It's mad.
Yeah. I mean, when I set my construction business up in 2018, I went from, my corporate background was always subcontractors. So we were the main contractor employing series of subbies on every project. And I had them up and down the UK, and it was just pure like volume pain. But at the time I was very much, because I was the gaffer of the corporate organisation I was working for, and the site managers that I had reporting into me were staff. So my opinion of our construction business ran then was, well, the staff do as I say. The staff, my site managers, they're having a great result, they're doing a good job. And then you think, all my pains on site are because they're subbies. And that was my thought at the time. And that was the only model that I knew, because my whole entire corporate construction career was using subbies. And that's what I kind of blamed the quality on. I used to go, hey, it's because they're subbies, they don't give a fuck. And that's my attitude. So when I set up my own business, I was like, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to employ all my trades, and I'm not going to do it like them. These multi-billion-dollar construction companies that run globally. I thought I could do it better as a one-man band starting up in Barton with a transit van. So I set on 18 lads to start with, and we started hitting HMOs, new builds, extensions, and all the rest of it. And I quickly realised that, they do it with subbies for a fucking good reason. And I was grateful that I recognised it quickly. I say quickly. It was 12 months before I realised it. Right. That actually staff are my problem. Let's go back down the subby route. Laid all the staff off, and then you brought subcontractors in, and my world changed like that, like instantly. And then having that realisation of subcontractors as opposed to staff have got accountability for standards. It does matter that they turn up and do a shift. It does matter that they deliver what you said you wanted. It does matter that they turn out that quality. It does matter that it's done to a time period. Even if you get good staff, like they have one down day, one mistake, you look at them the wrong way, they fucking go off sick, and all the rest of it. With subbies, you don't have that.
Yeah.
So for me, my advice to anybody setting up a construction company, and I'm saying this to anybody listening, and the advice I give to people when they ask me, is like the subby route is the way to go every time. Every time. Yeah. I'd never take staff on any construction company ever again.
Yeah. Well, I think you could have a few good ones.
But I mean, you can have a
your contract manager or your
I don't mean a tier of management. I mean operators. You know, so your Sparkies, plumbers, and blah blah blah. I remember taking on this plumber, mate, and I don't even mind sharing his name. He was that much of a fucking dickhead. Jonathan Hunt, he was called.
Right. But it rhymes with something, doesn't it?
Rhymes with something. Yeah. So he came to me, and his CV said he ran the plumbing division at North East Lincolnshire Council. So I'm thinking I'm getting myself an experienced bloke, and he was one big motherfucker as well. He was like 7 foot tall, size 15 shoe. He was a big man, and he was so friendly and jolly, and you'd think, really nice guy, interviewed really well, really nice guy. And he was doing it. His first job for me was a HMO, heating system, or 6-bed all ensuite HMO, and he had to put heating system in and 6 en suites. I'd had some quotes off local plumbers, and I was like, this is not meeting my budget, which is why I went out to get a directly employed plumber. Anyway, he started rattling away, and he was ordering the gear. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, he's getting through a lot of material here. So I go to site, and I'm like, how are you getting through this much gear on this job? Like, so, and I appreciate that you need it all, but how are you needing more, right? Like, where is it? Oh, so it's all fitted, So he's piped up all the central heating, he's piped up all the showers. And I gone down, and he'd done it all in plastic, which I don't like. I've just got a real negative I've had negative experiences with it. And I said to him, before this gets boarded, you need to pressure test this fucking entire system before we put any plasterboards up. Yeah, don't worry, I'll do it. So I go back a few weeks later, you did pressure test that system, didn't you? Yeah, everything's fine. Had he done it? Had he fuck? So we boarded it, skimmed it, double boards as well, because it was a HMO, plastered it. I think it was painted as well, and the Megaflow was on order. The heating system for the whole place, it was on order. So he pressure tested, and he couldn't fit this, so it couldn't be tested with water. Anyway, he's put the Megaflow in after it had been painted, and there was a fucking shower in every single room. Every single joint he put together fucking leaked. Every single one. There was rain, it was pissing in everywhere, and I was like, oh, fucking hell. Like, what are we going to do here? And here we had gone back to him, and it was like, mate, every one of them joints are leaking. Guess what the answer was? Oh, I'll go and put it right. Like, if he'd been a subby, he'd have had to pay for that.
Yeah, whose time, whose cost, yeah.
Because his staff, that was the final straw, that guy. Fucking unbelievable. That cost me a lot of money, that did. And I had learnt a lot of lessons as well, you know, like trusting in people, quality control. And this was back in 2018, this. Brutal time that was. Absolutely brutal.
No, it's true. So it took me, unfortunately, a little bit longer. I think we're about a year and a half in before I was like, I just can't keep throwing good money after bad. But yeah, it's, saying there about 8, because you've got to find the wages every month anyway, haven't you? So 18, I think we had 12 at our peak. And it was just mad when you're looking at the pay slips and you like 20, 30 grand. So, and this is, like I say, I had a business partner, but I don't know if he quite grasped it. Like, you need to find that every month without paying your merchants, without paying your corp tax or whatever else, you know. It's a lot of pressure, isn't it? Yeah,
and you're doing well to get them on monthly. Like most contractors, they want weekly.
Yeah,
like, that's what mine was. So the cash flow was really, really tough. And like you say, I was pumping money into the business, and I didn't have any other trading business at the time, so it was coming out of my savings.
Yeah,
which was it was a rough time. But as I say, as soon as I went down the subby route, it's like subby route's like, the way I see it, it's like a mobile phone contract. When you've got staff, it's like you've got a contract. But when it's subbies, it's pay as you go.
Yeah.
And it, isn't it?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of power in it. Obviously, they put a price in. You might go, oh, God, that makes it 20 days work or something like that if you're working at a day rate. If they get it done in 10, then you're still happy with the price. But it just everything progresses, in my experience.
Yeah, that's a really good, another good topic to dig into as well. That, like, what do you think when a subby puts a price in? And I'm sure I know the answer to this because I know your character, but somebody puts a price in and he works it out on 20 days and he finishes it in 10. How does that feel when the invoice comes in and it's still worked out that it's been 20 days.
Yeah, well, I don't care. Everyone needs to win.
Yeah, totally.
If you're happy with the price at the beginning, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
I think I've worked with these people as well. I mean, even with the architecture, people discount the experience and the time, the education, and all that kind of stuff that gets forgotten about. People who come to me, can I have a hand with a HMO conversion? We've got an architect on board, but can you just have a look through it? Well, no. So I've got to. I'm not getting the job, but I've got to fact check and sense check your designer's things because you wanted to save 500 quid or whatever on the quote rather than coming to me. Why would I do that? So no, it happens everywhere. I think maybe it's more property developers. I don't know if you find that, but they. Rather than building that relationship and everybody wins, it's about making their ROI stack sometimes just for that kind of all money out unicorn deal, rather than fair enough, if you leave a bit of money and you go to the next, you've got a good trade on speed dial, then, haven't you? You can work with them over and over and build things a lot quicker. There's a lot of power in everyone needs to make money. It's fair.
Totally agree. I know people though that would get an invoice and go, he's billed me for 20 days here. And I know the quote said 20 days, but he did it in 10. And I go, how many men did he put on it though? And how many men did you think he was going to put on it? When did he start and when did he finish? Well, I don't know any of that. I just know that he worked it out on 20 days and he's done it in 10. How do I get a discount? Well, you fucking don't. Just pay the bill. Yeah, it's...
Well, the other side of that, and we've seen this, it's normally electricians and plumbers, it seems to be, but we've had a few where, we're trying to manage subcontractors at the church one, this is, and they forget about the times they don't show up, when it's impacted the program and stuff. So when it gets to the extras stage, they're like, oh, we had to spend a day extra here, and you're like, that's all fine, but you didn't turn up on this day when you said, which delayed the painters, the decorators, the plasterer. So who pays for that then? There is, I think sometimes, I mean, I'm happy to pay for what I've got and what we've agreed, but I think sometimes the contractors need to appreciate that them not showing up and them not being accountable sometimes has a big impact as well. They say when you're doing big projects, £1 million projects and stuff, that's 10 grand a month in interest. It's a lot of money, and they don't see it like that.
Yeah, totally. And what about the other way around? So when subby prices for 20 days and it starts taking him longer through no fault of yours as the customer, but through maybe they've only doing 4-hour days and then they come back to you for extra. How does that make you feel?
I've not had that happen yet. So no.
Oh, it's coming.
So maybe my prices have been eye-wateringly high anyway or something, but I don't know, there's a conversation to have. If it's fair, isn't it? If they've maybe miscalculated and it has taken a lot more, but at the same time, say it works both ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
If they've priced 20 days and it ends up at 30.
Yeah, why did it become 30?
Yeah.
And that's also assuming that they've even revealed the breakdown of day rates to begin with.
Yeah, there's that tissue paper with 40 grand on.
Yeah, it's just 40k. And then how can you then come for extra when we don't know what the baseline was to begin with?
Yeah. But no, this comes down, I mean, I know you say about specification and stuff like that, isn't it? We try to give as much info as we can up front, just so there are no unknowns, with a conversion. Once you've stripped it back to brick and you're building it back, there are no hidden dangers, in my opinion. So once you got to that stage, you should know your figures, shouldn't you? It's just putting stuff back on walls, and the pipework is the pipework, isn't it?
Yeah. Still doing anything on your tools yourself?
No. God, I make it sound like I don't do anything now.
You do. Which is what I'm trying to get to the bottom of, what you actually fucking do.
What do I actually do? I just mitts around drinking coffee on the phone. No, I spend a lot of time on the phone, emails, just herding cats.
Yeah.
I guess that the higher you progress in your business and stuff like that, it becomes more problem solving and firefighting. So that's generally what I do. There's always a problem that goes on site, and you've got to act on your feet, to keep the project running. You've got the finance to sort, you've got the investors to keep happy, you've got your team to keep work coming in for, the networking that I do, presenting and all that kind of stuff as well. So I guess I don't feel like I'm working because I enjoy what I do. I just like the crack. I like talking to people and that kind of thing. Yeah. So and maybe my team might have a different opinion of what I do, but I keep myself busy anyway.
Yeah. My daughter always says stuff like that to me. What do you do all day? God, and I can't actually answer her.
Yeah.
Because it's so diverse.
Yeah.
Like today we've had a table tennis tournament, which I beat you.
Oh,
rematch.
Rematch.
We've had this. Then I've got a masterclass later, and I've got a Zoom training tonight to our mastermind group. And like to try and explain that to a 10-year-old is really difficult. Well, why have you always got to be on teaching? Why have you always got to do that?
Does she think you're famous?
Yeah, she does, yeah.
Yeah. Because when I walk around town with the kids sometimes, I'm like, hello, mate, you know, all that kind of stuff. She's like, you know everyone, are you famous?
Yeah.
No, just get about a lot, have a lot of meetings.
You know, she does. My daughter, she's right into YouTube.
Right.
And she'll be scrolling YouTube, and they scroll so fast. If you watch a 10-year-old on YouTube, they're like this. It's so quick, and I go, you're not watching any of it. And she'll get into something, she'll be watching something, and then she'll skim the next one, and it'll be me that comes up. And I say, and she'll go, cringe, cringe, and she'll swipe up. And there was the one time, YouTube's the only platform that you can dislike a video. And I was getting all these dislikes on a lot of videos. Someone had gone down them all and gone, dislike, dislike, dislike. And I sat telling Lisa, and I said, Lisa, I think I've got some troll on my case. Someone's been down all my videos and disliked them. And our Evie says, that were me. I said, what have you done that for? She says, because every time I'm scrolling YouTube, you come up, and if I tell YouTube that I don't like it, they'll stop showing it me. And I was like, thanks, kid.
There's a lesson there. Sometimes your biggest haters in life are your closest family.
Oh, dear. So, networking, you touched on networking. How important is that?
It's massive. I think there's a lot of stuff that you read in books, isn't there? And it says, oh, you've got to do this, you know, it's going to make a massive difference. And, you know, I wasn't a natural networker when it was the forced stuff at work. Back when I was employed, I didn't particularly like it. You know, I wasn't on the same wavelength as some of the other people. But when I started doing it, you know, and surrounding myself at the PPNs and that with other developers, you know, it's where I met Paul Million. Other people, investors and stuff like that, you know, I've kind of known them from pushing myself out of my comfort zone earlier on. And then obviously when you start your own, you just get a little bit more of a social standing, don't you? Know, that know, like and trust gets broken down a lot quicker than just meeting people at networking events. So all the deals I've kind of done at the moment are because of me pushing myself out there and putting myself out there at networking events. All these things have been brought to me. Amazing. So it's massive opportunity, I think, for people. You need to do it as quickly and as often as you can.
I agree, totally.
It feels sometimes like you're banging your head against a wall, or you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, but you just know in the background it's building. You know, it's often not the people you're speaking to, it's who they refer you to as well. So massive bonus, I think, for what I'm doing at the moment.
Do you do much attending as a guest, as it were?
Yeah, I
go to them.
I get around quite a lot, So, like Newcastle, so I'm based in Darlington, but I'll go as far as York, Leeds. It depends who the speaker is. I was down in Milton Keynes recently.
Oh, you go for the speaker, do you?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
A lot, because obviously with running a networking event, it's a way of me kind of vetting if they're worth listening to. Maybe bring them to TPT as well. Yeah,
I never really look at the speakers.
Do you not?
No, I tend to go. I don't really know what you fucking put me on the spot now. Why do I choose to go to a networking event? Why am I going on Wednesday?
So you never go with
I never go with the intention of listening to the speaker. I go with the agenda of I'm going to grow my network. I'm going to meet people. I don't know where that comes from. I've never really thought about that before. So I attend one a quarter in Warrington. I go and see Danny Inman's Prosperity, and I never know who's speaking until I get there. And he has a really well-structured day, and it's the same every time. And Danny opens it with a 45-minute presentation on the economy. Do you know what? I must talk about this on every single episode of this podcast. And he's quite on the spectrum with data and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting presentation that he puts over. I listen to that, and then for the rest of the day, I network. I don't listen to the rest of the speakers.
Right. So you're that annoying one who's in the back. Keep it down at the back there.
No, because he has a separate room, you see.
Okay.
So he has a breakout room where you can go on. And there's a lot of other people do that as well, or I won't be networking. I'd just be sitting there on my own. But I'm going to Nottingham on Wednesday night. I am actually going for the speaker on that one, just because he invited me. And then I go to Paul Lanfear's one in Leeds. But again, I don't know, never know who the speaker is. I genuinely go to because I think Paul's great. I think his his approach to networking is fab. I don't know anybody that does it like that. I think it's brilliant. I've been to TPT for a while actually. It's a bit of a shove though from Lincoln, Darlow. 2.5 hours, isn't it? Yeah,
about that. Yeah. If you plan it out there, to say I was down in Milton Keynes.
Do you still do it at Blackthorn Manor? Is it?
Oh, I've forgotten the name of the bloody hotel now. Blackwell Grange.
Blackwell Grange, that's it. You still go there?
Yeah.
Nice place, that.
It is. No, it's very nice.
Yeah. I stayed over in Darlow once. I was at a meditation retreat in Richmond, and I decided I'll stay over in Darlow. Fucking hell, never again. I got this serviced accommodation unit. Oh my god.
It might be my shit.
It was fucking rough, mate. In the back garden, there was a wall going around the back garden. There was broken glass bedded into the concrete on the back wall.
That's standard. Is that not the thing here as well now? That's to stop the.
Oh, it was rope. It was proper ropey.
Yeah.
It was proper ropey. I don't know how these people get away. I say get away with. I guess it's just marketing, right? They take amazing photos of these units, and you get there and you go, "This is not what was on the pictures."
Catfishing for property.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is exactly that. You're not one of them, are you? I can imagine yours are all mint.
No, to be honest, we do have one that's not as good as the rest because it was kind of my business partners, and we just titivated it, let's say.
Yeah.
But no, it's not.
Is this the blue wall one? I've seen you doing some content around lately.
Blue walled one. No, this is way old. We've had it probably 6 years or so now, so probably looking a bit tired. So if it was that one, I apologise.
No, I think I saw you do. I think I saw a video from you that recently. You were in. You said it was an old one.
That was our HMO, yeah. Yeah, so we're
just going to tart it up.
Just going to trial a different coloured paint and all that kind of stuff on the walls. Bit of artwork and see what we can do. It's been sat empty for a few weeks, that one now. Obviously you need the money back, so as cheap as possible that one to just try and get it filled again.
Yeah, mate. Before we come to an end, I don't feel like you've done a good enough job of plugging your own business.
Right.
So tell me about the direction of this 81 North.
Well, I mean,
it sounds exciting and a service that people would benefit from.
What I think is a bit of a USP for us is that I live and breathe this development stuff as well. So I use PD, I use planning, all of the little back doors, let's say, into getting what you need. It's like a Wooler one, for example. We used a combination of E2MA permitted development to get the changes up top. With planning to get the door to get to the flats and stuff like that. So I know all of these little, roundabout ways of getting what you need. So I think for anyone who's looking to do commercial conversions or HMOs, I've got them projects. I've lived on the client side and the designer side and done the development as well. So I think all of that, it translates into a better product and value for people who are doing it, rather than people just assuming that that's what they want. And that doesn't work. It's not buildable. That's when the problems start with your builders on site. Say, I've lived and breathed it. I've done the finance. I know how that works. I can tell you if your deal's crap anyway. It's never going to stack up. I've got no issues with telling people that at all. I'd rather save people their shirts than do the drawings and realise it will never be built as well. So I guess that's me selling it. And of course we do the interior design at the back end as well. So it is very much that. Start with the end in mind and work backwards mentality. The paint on the walls, there's cladding and all that. Again, I've got too many friends who I've tried to coax them down that route and say, look, this is what you need, and they've gone, oh no, we'll go with a cheap price and we'll work it out at the end. And then of course it goes 300 grand over budget and stuff like that. So from all that experience, I want to help and try and avoid people getting into trouble, let's say, with their developments. Yeah.
So is this going to be a done for you service, or is this a training product that you're going to create?
No. So that's. The training is another thing I want to get into. I know we spoke about that a little bit at the last time we tried to record this as well. Again, I do enjoy talking to people, helping them. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. I'm sure lots of conversations I have with all my friends in the development sphere. Everybody's been through it. They've all had that turkey of a project and that. So if I can help people avoid that, just by being completely honest about where I've made mistakes and where I've fucked up, then it's great. Hopefully people enjoy it as well, and people would sign up for, a bit of mentorship, or even if I do site walkarounds. There's lots of things in the pipeline at the minute. I just need a little bit of time, just another shiny penny, as we were talking about before. Lots of ideas. I just need to really sit down and put them into action, really.
Yeah, nice. Mate, thanks for coming once again.
Thank you. Right, we'll go and play ping pong.
Always a pleasure. I'm going to thrash you again at fucking table tennis. No, pleasure to speak to you again. And thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for sticking around till the end. All the social handles from both of us are below. I'll see you in the next one.